Hello, candle lovers. Welcome to the Be It Sense channel. You are going to love it here. Now, have you ever wondered where candles came from? What is this thing we call candles? Zilitoka wapi? That's the question. So, need not worry. That's why I am here. I'm going to be answering that and many more questions in this video. So, candles have been in existence since time immemorial. There's no specific date or time when candles were actually invented. We were born and we found candles here. Now, the dictionary definition of a candle is a light source that is made from either wax or tallow, and it needs to have a central wick. That is the dictionary definition of a candle. So, number one, it needs to be a light source. It needs to be made either from wax or tallow. And number three, it needs to have a central wick. So 3 things. Now, the very first candle to ever be invented was the tallow candle. If you don't know what a tallow is the remains of animal fat. So the ancient people would slaughter a cow or a goat or whatever animal you could think of. Then they will scrape off the fat of that animal, pull it together onto a stick, and then light it up. And the main purpose of this tallow candle was to be a light source, nothing else. You can see it in these movies we watch today, like Vikings or Game of Thrones. You can see it there. So that is an example of a tallow candle. Now, the tallow candles are good as a light source, but they had one disadvantage. They smelled horrendous. The smell was pathetic. You can imagine having stored animal fat, which is unpreserved, for like weeks or months. Imagine lighting that into your own house. Oh. Horrific, horrendous smell. So, being humans as we are, we seeked a newer and a better version of the tallow candle. And in ancient Egypt, they did just that. They discovered the beeswax candle. Now, if you don't know what a beeswax candle is, that's why I'm here, boo. Now, the beeswax candle is a candle that is naturally occurring, and it is obtained from the glands of working bees. Have you ever seen that hexagonal recurring pattern on a beehive? That's where the beeswax candle is obtained from. Now, they would source this from the beehives, and they would transform it into a wax. And then from that wax, they were able to create the very first tapa candles. If you don't know what a tapa candle is, this is let me show you here on this is what a tapa candle looks like. Now, the beeswax candle was a significant improvement from the tallow candle for various reasons. Number one, it improved in terms of smell. So it had the beeswax candle had this natural honey-like scent. It was mwah, to say the least. It was naturally occurring, so they didn't have to slaughter animals. They didn't have to do any artificial method for them to obtain the candle. They would obtain it from the beehives. And number three, it was just better than the tallow candle in general. And they would use this for religious events. They would use this to light their houses. They would use this during wars. So it was a significant improvement from the tallows. And the fame of beeswax candle grew over time, and it moved from just ancient Egypt to Europe and areas within Europe like France, North England, the UK, and they would use this, and the elites had access to these beeswax candles. Now, in as much as the beeswax candles were a major improvement from the tallow candles, they had one major disadvantage. The fact that they were naturally occurring made it impossible or hard for the median members of society to access it. It was scarce, and only the elites had the money or the resources to afford the beeswax candle. So the other percentage of the population were left without another light, so they had to rely on the tallow. And that's where this famous scientist came in, who discovered the paraffin wax. Fast forward to 1830, when the scientist called Carl Vaughan discovered the first paraffin wax. Also, a fun fact, if you didn't know, Carl Vaughan discovered paraffin wax as an accident. Go read more into that. Now, this paraffin wax was odorless, number one. It was easily manufacturable, number two. So the majority of the mass population had access to the paraffin wax, which made it cheap and an improvement to the beeswax. Now we're rolling into the invention of paraffin wax. Paraffin wax in the scented candle history is a very big milestone, because when you are working with a lot of candles, actually you're recommended to use paraffin wax because it has this ability to hold on to scents longer compared to other waxes. So the discovery of paraffin wax was a major milestone for the candle industry. Paraffin wax began to be mass produced, and the mass population moved from the tallows, and now they had this paraffin wax in form of the tapa candles, and also they slowly started producing the jar candles that we know today, e.g. the bead says that we have today in display for you. In 1879, something major happened. Thomas Edison discovered the first incandescent bulb, and that was the beginning of the decline of the candle industry. Now, we are significantly appreciative of the discovery of the bulb as we know today. It provides us with an immediate light source. It's cheap, it's affordable, it's available to the mass production. But because of it, people now are moved from depending on candles as a light source and moved to utilizing candle for more aesthetic purposes. Hence the discovery of scented candles. This is where scented candles come in. The people in the candle industry had to find a way to stay relevant. And because now people did not require candles for light, they had to repurpose candles for another use, which is scent, i.e. aromatherapy. Now, people started formulating scents that people can, light up in their homes, smell the candles, relax their minds, for therapeutic purposes rather than lighting purposes. For be it candles, that's also the line we are working on. We are creating candles for you that can be able to, ease your minds when you're anxious, that can be able to calm your nerves when you're feeling too overwhelmed. And you're creating candles that are not just for beauty purposes, but also for your mental health. And that's why I purposely created this video, for me to explain to you guys where candles came from, for you to understand the evolution of the candle industry, for you to understand why it's necessary for you to get candles, why it's necessary for you in this day and age and time for you to purchase a candle. It's not for light source. It has evolved from that. Now you need candles for therapy. Now you need candles for aesthetic purposes. And you can browse on our vast catalog, on our Instagram pages, on our TikTok pages, and you can see the variety of candles that we have for you, for different purposes, for different uses. It's not just for lighting purposes, it's more than that. That is the evolution of the candle industry. And thank you for staying through the rest of this video. I'm glad that you listened in. I hope that you learned a thing or two from this video that you can actually utilize in your own life, and it can actually motivate you to buy a candle from us, be it scents. So bye bye, candle lovers. See you on the next one.